Hey guys, I'm back. I know it's been a minute since I updated you guys. It's been kind of crazy over here, so sorry about that. Yeah, so let's get back to business. Last video, I had updated you guys that I had just recently got a positive pregnancy test. That was very exciting and very unexpected. And I just honestly, I couldn't believe it. Unfortunately, I did end up losing that pregnancy at about 6 weeks. You know, it's just one of those things, happens far more than it should. And it was my first miscarriage. So we are just doing a lot of tests. I needed to make sure that my HCG got back down to zero, and it finally has. And we're just looking forward and making plans. I have an appointment with my doctor next week to figure out a timeline, a game plan, and basically what we're gonna do IVF wise, and if any of this uh, affects any of those plans. So we're getting basically all our whole workup redone just to make sure that when we move forward with IVF, um, that we have the most up-to-date information since clearly some things have changed because I was able to get pregnant, but I wasn't able to stay pregnant. So we just want to make sure that we have all the information there when we go into IVF so that our treatment can be tailored to those exact needs, which is good. Like, I obviously wish I hadn't have lost the pregnancy, but I would much rather go into IVF knowing that a loss is something that we need to be aware of. Not that I wasn't aware that we couldn't have a loss or anything like that, but like if it's something that we can tailor our protocol to, not particularly loss per se, but to just make sure that my egg quality is good, to make sure that there isn't any kind of progesterone change that my body is making, things like that that can be monitored, that can be affected. Not that there is always a cause for a miscarriage, but again, when it comes to infertility, information is the best tool to have, and you can make a far better judgment call when you have all those tests, all those numbers, and all that information. So we're just looking forward to moving forward. Yeah. Like I said, I have an appointment next week with my RE. We are going to get the results of a fresh semen analysis. We are going to discuss my miscarriage, and we are actually going to discuss my protocol for IVF, because even though we had decided on IVF for quite a while now, we actually haven't had an official let's get this show on the road meeting. Well, because my insurance only kicks in about a week. So we haven't been able to do anything about IVF. So my official IVF consult is coming up, and we're making those plans. We're getting the results of my husband's semen analysis. He has made some changes. He's removed some medications that could be affecting his semen quality. So we're hoping for some improvement with regards to that. I'm hoping that my egg quality is still reasonably good. When we did my workup last year, March, my FSH was under a 2, which is not awful, but it's not great. So here, coming up on a year later, I'm just hoping there hasn't been too much decline, because, if my husband's semen is still the issue, for morphology, we can do ICSI, which is great. I'm so glad that that option is available to us. But if my eggs are bad, there isn't a whole lot we can do about that besides donor, which, I'm not opposed to it. We just haven't gotten there yet. Like, we haven't had to consider it as an option because so far we've been working under the assumption that my eggs are going to be fine to do IVF. So we're still hoping that that's the case. Yeah, so in terms of Starbucks and Starbucks Insurance, I have been there about 3.5 months. And I've been doing a lot of research this month just to make extra sure I'm picking the right insurance for my needs. Um, I made I'm so glad I called my fertility clinic. They have a financial advisor, and had a meeting with her. And something I hadn't considered at all was the embryology lab. So, for example, when I looked at all my insurance carriers and I looked up my reproductive endocrinologist, um, that eliminated some of the providers that I could choose because I didn't want to pay out of network fees for those carriers. I then also had to look at my obstetrician that I plan on using when I am pregnant. And I needed to find out if the carrier that I choose for IVF is going to be a good carrier for when I'm getting obstetrical treatment. And that ruled out some more options for me. So I started out with 4. And when I got down to 2, only one covered both my obstetrician and my reproductive endocrinologist. And the other one was, going to be a good choice for IVF and an okay choice for obstetrics. So I narrowed it down to those 2 choices, and then I went to my the financial advisor for my clinic and had a meeting with her, and she informed me that the embryology lab that they contract with is only in network with one of my choices, and that was one of the 2 that I had chosen, fortunately. So out of 4, only one was really an option, and it just so happens that that one carrier is also in network with my obstetrician. So that is 99% what I'm going to go with, because it just makes sense. Embryology, reproductive endocrinology, and obstetrics, it's going to be my best bet all around. The only reason I was feeling a little hesitant is because the carrier that I'm going to choose is Aetna, and I'm going to be doing Aetna Platinum for a lowest out-of-pocket cost for the fertility treatments. And like I said, it covers all those other things that are important in my particular situation as well. But Aetna requires a number of pre-authorizations, which I was hoping to not do. And I believe, which is what I'm confirming everything with right now, is I believe that one of the prerequisites that you have to go through before they will authorize you for infertility treatments is you have to have had 6 IUI cycles, and we haven't. We've only had 1, but we have had multiple medicated cycles, and our issue is male factor. So IUI, my doctor may be able to, what do you call it when you argue? I don't know. But she may be able to argue that IUI is not a good fit for us because of the male factor and because it's morphology related. And, morphology being the thing that stops the sperm from penetrating the egg. All the IUIs in the world don't increase the chances that his morphology is going to improve, but ICSI will do exactly that. It will help the sperm penetrate the egg. So I'm hoping that works out. Fingers crossed. I contacted, another thing that I did that was that I recommend is I contacted our they're called advocates that are employed by Starbucks to help you choose the right benefits package for you. And when I called the benefits hotline, they actually put me through to a fertility specialist. So that was cool that they have a specifically allocated infertility advocate whose whole job is to be up to date on the information regarding the infertility benefits. So how that went is I called and I was on hold, and he wasn't actually able to, they were still busy. So I had to leave my information, and I was told I would get a call back within 2 business days. And it was about halfway through day 2 when I got a call back. It was a guy. He was very friendly, exactly the kind of person you expect to be working at Starbucks, except they were just on the phone, which was kind of cool. Um, I had all my questions prepared, so I do recommend um, like sitting aside and thinking of all the things that you want to ask them beforehand, because if you forget anything, they're only going to get back to you in 2 business days. So you want to make the most of their time while you have it. And then something else that I liked is that he gave me answers, and then he also gave me a list of the things that he was going to confirm for me. And not only confirm with the insurance carriers that I was considering, but also confirm with my specific clinic. He offered me the option of being vague or being specific, as in he would call the clinic and ask just generally about the situation, or with my permission, he could say specifically me, my carrier, my all that. And of course, I gave him the permission to be specific. I personally believe that specificity helps a lot in this situation, because there's so many minute details. So I wanted him to be free to ask the questions that he needed to ask and get the specific data regarding my treatment that I had. So that was also good. And then, going through my benefits package, it's literally like a book. Like, it's like a textbook, the benefits guide that they give you. And it seems like a lot of information, and it really is. And I would be lying if I said I read it all. But I gave it a really good looking through, looked at all the headings, all the chapters, and I did skip over the parts that weren't particularly pertaining to me. But in my skimming, I found out, which was very exciting, not for me, but just in general, that Starbucks insurance covers weight loss surgery, which I know is also a factor in infertility and seeking treatment for in getting IVF treatment. I know that there are some clinics that will not treat women with IVF until their weight is at a certain stage. So if that's you, if you're considering all this sort of stuff and you feel down because of weight and you can't get the treatment that you need, Starbucks is also a great fit, not only for IVF, but to help you get that surgery. So I thought that was cool, that it's covering a bunch of good stuff. And then the other thing that I was excited about to find is that Starbucks also covers gender reassignment surgery for those who are trans. And I couldn't imagine, like, just being infertile has given me just a tiny window into what it must be like to just other people take something health-wise for granted, and then basically money decides who can and can't have children in our situation. If you are infertile, those who can afford it get children, and those who can't afford it don't get children. And I can't imagine being a trans person and just feeling like the only thing that's stopping me from being the person I was meant to be is money. That would just, like I said, I can only understand a tiny fraction of what it must be like. So I was excited to find out that Starbucks also covers that. So just the more and more I find out about Starbucks, the insurance, the company, the more I'm excited about the brand, the more I'm excited about their, like, mantra on life. It really is treating the barista as a whole, as a individual, and with respect. And I really, really appreciate that. And just makes me want to support the company, like, all the more. In other news, I had thought that as soon as I got pregnant, I would quit. But I'm happy to say that I have settled into the job a lot better than I thought I would. I have a much better work-life balance now. My store manager has been amazing. Like, I don't think I'll ever have a manager this good for the rest of my life. She's really worked with me on the schedule, and she's just been very understanding. She knows everything that, like, I'm going to be going through. And I just have nothing but support from her. And consistent, considering that she has like 35 other partners to like work with, I can't believe the amount of like individual attention and help like she's given just me. So yeah, if this is how it's like anywhere else, you guys are gonna love working for this company. And I plan on staying as long as I can. So I don't plan on quitting when I'm pregnant. But as long as I am able to work, I will be working with Starbucks and utilizing their amazing benefits and just having a good time, because it's past the super hard part and into like the good time. I still suck. I was on bar this morning and I drive through times were super bad. But you know, I'm getting there. I'm getting there. So just to recap, I'm not pregnant anymore. I'm moving forward. I've got an appointment next week where I'll hopefully have a little bit more information on like my IVF protocol and what it's going to be like. And then soon I will have an update on which insurance carrier I actually chose, and then what I assume is going to be the pre-authorization process and what that's like. And I will provide as much detail as I can on what it's going to be like with Aetna Platinum. And yeah, my advice to you once you get to this stage with your benefits package is read the benefits package as much as you can. Have all your questions in advance for your RE, for your advocate, your infertility advocate. Speak to the financial advisor at your clinic before you've decided on your benefits so that they can help you choose. Make sure you ask about things like their labs. Make sure you ask about their embryology, all the places that they contract with. Make sure you find out if that matters to you and your selection of your insurance carrier, because it could be a very, very big difference out of pocket wise for you if that's something that's important to you. Other things to think about is which carriers require you to use specific pharmacies, because IVF medications are a specialty medication. You can't just go to CVS and get them. You need to use a specialty pharmacy, and some of them it doesn't matter, and some of them it does. I know Aetna, which is where I'm going with, does require me to use a specialty pharmacy of their choice. So I don't have the option of shopping around to find the best rates for my copays and out-of-pocket expenses and stuff like that. So if I could pick and choose, I wouldn't choose that option because the meds, even though you get $5,000 to spend on medications, it goes very quickly. So if you are able to shop around and pick and choose, you can buy this medication from this pharmacy and that medication from that pharmacy, depending on what's going to give you your best price. But if you're limited, like I'm going to be, there is no way to reduce your cost at all. I'm not sure what those costs are just yet, but I was trying to leave myself with the most options. And this does narrow my options substantially, but it's still going to be, I think, the best choice for me. And I was also unofficially, nudge, nudge, wink, wink, told by the infertility advocate that something that they don't advertise and that may change at any moment is that if there is a legitimate reason that the insurance that I chose is not working out like immediately, like you all of a sudden discover it doesn't cover something that you were told it did, or your embryology lab is out of network, or things like that, like reasonable and important things come up that you were not aware of when you were making your choice. If that happens within 30 days, you do have a grace period to switch. So I plan on 1st of February putting in all my pre-authorization for my treatments. And if I don't get pre-authorized like right away or easily, I'm going to take the risk and switch. But I'll keep you posted as to how that process goes. And I promise it won't be 2 weeks again before my next update, or maybe 3 weeks now since my last update, but I'm going to be better at keeping in touch. It was just a lot to go through, like emotionally. Yeah, and process all that. So I'm ready. I'm back. Let's get this IVF journey going, and I'll keep you guys along for the ride. Don't forget, I'm here. I'm going to be doing more. And since I don't have like a day of the week that I upload videos, it's best to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so that if you want updates, you can know when I'm posting them. Because like I said, I don't exactly have a very specific schedule that you can just like know when I have a new video. So I will see you guys later. Thank you. Bye.